I take in mind is that no society will function without good faith, and societies between themselves will not function without good faith. And if we try to put a bar on every hole, it's impossible. There will always be a hole where somebody will come in. So we have to build up the good faith. That's what I want to say.
Example of what you're saying, and the most successful example was the American attitude towards Germany after the Second World War. You know, I've read editorials in the New York Times where they're suggesting, you know, Berlin would be destroyed, the land would be sowed with salt, and they didn't go that way. They went the opposite way, and the result is, you know, Germany couldn't be more of an ally, closer integrated into Europe today.
Hail Marshall.
Just quickly on the same point, I think in Europe, just as a generalization, and I'd like to get from Kimon on this, I think because there are so many different cultures, so many different languages, people are now coming together in the EU and realizing that together they are stronger because of that.
Europe is a very interesting case because there's a lot of diversity, but by the same token there's a lot of unity. And, always actually, historically speaking, because if you look at the history of Europe, for many centuries Europe was made up of empires, and there is a common theme, which is very well defined by Arnold Toynbee, saying it's the amalgam of Greek philosophy, Roman law, and the Judeo-Christian tradition. And therefore, some interpretation of European diversity is that this is something that started with the 19th century, when you had the explosion of nationalities, and the 20th century, the fragmentation of Europe. But if you take the long view, from the Roman Empire until the French Revolution, Europe was more united than disunited. And this is why some people say the European experiment is succeeding, because they're not starting from scratch. They're building on a long tradition.
Thank you, sir. You've maintained your position as Prime Minister.
Yeah, that's true.
PaulC, please.
A couple of indispensable facts to this kind of a discussion. The first one is that the United States spends more on its military than all the other countries on the planet put together. The other fact is it's the only country in the world that has nearly 1,000 military bases everywhere else in the world.
That's right.
Just to maintain those military bases, the United States keeps 500,000 people on the move at any one time all over the face of the planet. And this is a country that says it's fearful that it's going to be attacked. It's fearful that it has enemies because they don't like the American way of life. I would suggest that the United States, keeping this stance, this hegemonical stance in the world, has to step on a great many toes at all times in order to do this. Let me give you one little example, coming not from terrorists who supposedly hate America, but from the president of Ecuador, one little country with 8 million people the size of Quebec. The president of Ecuador said, look, I don't mind an American military base on Ecuadorian soil as long as I can have an Ecuadorian base near Miami.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that question? What's wrong with that question? Why would they do that?
Oh, welcome back. Wow.
Very good.
The president's going to have to be careful on his seat here. So long.